This is my crop production plan on barley. I chose to grow barley because it's a crop with a very rich history of being used in beer making in this area. In the late 1800s, the Yolo Brewery began making kegs of 5, 10, and 15 gallons and sending them throughout the US and even to Europe. It said that the Yolo beer was one of the most highly respected and popular beers in English pubs. One of the main reasons that this happened was because the barley and many of the hops were grown in woodland by the owners of the Yolo Brewery. And supposedly it tasted so different and so good that it was a coveted taste. Additionally, there's a Budweiser brewery in Fairfield in Solano County, and I could sell my barley to them, in addition to any kind of other local breweries. And the straw that is left over from harvest, I could sell either to dairies as dry cow feed or to companies or places like a golf course for pond rejuvenation. And barley has broad ecological adaptations, so is a resilient crop. I would plant my barley in fall, and I would plant it as malting barley. I would use a malting variety. And the window for planting barley is September 1st to October 15th if planted in the fall in the northwest or western region. But ideally, the best planting time is the second or third week of September. And I will use seeds because that's the best way to grow barley. Barley needs a clean, weed-free seed bed that is well drained and has a pH of 6.3 or greater. This is because barley is markedly less tolerant of wet soils and low pH than other small grains. Barley has pretty deep fibrous roots, so it's able to absorb a lot of the residual nutrients in the soil, but nitrogen is one of the very important things that it needs, as is the case with many crops. And if the recommended amount of nitrogen is not available at the time of testing, it should be applied to the crops at planting time. Barley doesn't need a ton of extra water. It's able to cultivate on rainwater for the most part, unless it's in arid climates. An arid climate is less than 10 inches of rain per year, but Davis does not fall into this category because it receives about 21 inches of rain per year on average. So the only time barley needs to be irrigated is toward the beginning of crop development, just to establish the plants in arid climates. To plant and grow barley, you need to have a disc harrow to till up the ground and make it soft for growing. A grain drill is an attachment dragged behind a tractor to create holes in the ground and drop seeds into these holes. A combine harvester is used for 3 purposes: reaping, which is cutting and gathering the plants; threshing, which is removing the edible part from the husk; and winnowing, which is separating grain from the chaff. Additionally, the straw swath option may be enabled if you have the correct header on the harvester to leave behind a trail of straw so that it can then be collected by a baler and turn it into bales of straw that can then be sold. Harvest occurs at the end of April or May, and barley for malt, more specifically, can be harvested when the grain has reached 13.5% or less seed moisture content. As mentioned before, a harvest combine will be used to reap, thresh, and winnow. As of November 30th, 2020, the nationwide price for barley was $4.78 per bushel. A bushel is 48 pounds in the case of barley. The last time that I could find that barley was separated from other crops such as wheat and oats was 1956 in Yolo County. And in this year, there were 174,000 acres of barley, which produced 218,800 tons. The gross farm value in this year was $9,846,000. In the last 10-year average in all of California for barley was $208.09 per ton. And in the time from 2015 to 2016, the crop value increased by 127%. One of only a few field crops which was able to increase its value that year. There are many things that go into producing barley, many costs, but some of the ones I find to be most interesting or most important are as follows. Now, specific numbers written on the slide are from 1995 to 1996, but the proportions and general ideas remain the same into 2021. So laborers earn an hourly wage, but laborers whose operations involve machinery earn a 20% higher wage, as they need to be compensated for their skills, which include equipment setup, moving, maintenance, and repair. The base property tax rate is about 1% on the assessed value of the property, and one of the very important things that farmers need to look out for is liability. So liability insurance covers accidents on the farm, either for a flat rate for the entire farm or for a lower rate per acre that produces crop, per producing acre. These are some of the greater totals, but again, they are the specific numbers from 1995 to 1996. Some of the three of the main pests that affect barley are grasshoppers, English grain aphids, and stink bugs. My family grows 900 acres of barley out in Stanislaus County, and I can tell you firsthand that the grasshoppers can be a serious issue. There have been a couple years where it looks like the plagues of the Bible, and it got to a point where we'd be just catching grasshoppers and using them for fishing bait. Grasshoppers are Orthoptera with jointed legs and wings, and dimethoate is the most effective pesticide. English grain aphids are Hemiptera, that are yellow-green to reddish-brown in color, medium-sized with black antennae and cornicles. The most effective pesticide is, again, dimethoate. Stink bugs are also Hemiptera and are commonly gray, brown, or green, and they're shield-shaped, so they're also known as shield bugs, and they have a large triangle on the center of their back. There are currently no chemicals that are permitted to get rid of these bugs, so there isn't a very effective way to get rid of them. 3 diseases which plague barley are barley stripe, barley yellow dwarf, and net blotch of barley. So barley stripe is when the leaves of the barley begin to become a pale yellow, and it at a certain point begins to tatter, and it becomes darker, and it can stunt the growth of the plant if it occurs early enough in the plant's growth and is severe enough. The best way to avoid having barley stripe is to use certified seed, because if the seed is certified, it's already been checked for barley stripe and will not occur. Barley yellow dwarf is when uneven blotchy leaf discoloration occurs in the colors of yellow, red, or purple. In barley, it's usually yellow. This causes stunting in the plant, and the best way to get rid of it is to use resistant or tolerant barley cultivars and avoid very early or very late planting dates. So not before September 1st and not after October 15th. Or in the case of spring planted barley, not before March and not after April. Net blotch of barley is when lesions appear as tiny spots of dark green and are water soaked but turn light brown. These tend to become yellow, and it expands through the plant and can even go up onto the spikes of the plant. And if it is severe enough, it can kill it. Barley is an aggressive and quick growing plant, so it doesn't often experience weeds. It often outcompetes the weeds. And if crop rotation is practiced, it is even more rare to see weed growth. However, if certain weeds do grow, such as wild oat or wild buckwheat, Puma herbicide can be used to prevent or eliminate them. This is my bibliography. Thank you very much for watching.